Okay. Sorry. I turned off the wrong one. I turned off the wrong thing. Okay. Now there should be sound. Sound okay? Yes, now I think there should be sound. Good afternoon, Ayakami. How are you doing? Hey, Daily Gaming. Hey, Diana. Thank you for letting me know that there was no sound. It would have been silly if I started rambling on with no sound. As I was saying, when there was no sound, I was turned it on a little bit earlier, turned on the stream a little bit earlier because I was watching the CPI data being released. Was for the UK was 3.9, expected 3.8, come out 4%. Pretty much as we expected, a little bit of an upward move. We spoke about that yesterday. So pound dollar pushing up a little bit, but I think it might just be a bit of a move up before continuing down. We'll look more into that shortly. Yeah, D-Trade. Well, I'm just not streaming on TikTok today. That's why I have the camera on for trading view. Still waiting for the camera to come in. Thank you, Ayakame. Thanks, Daily Gaming. Hey, Jew Marinas, how are you doing? Pleasant morning to you, KLE. Hey, Christina, how are you doing? Yeah, finally the sound came on. That was crazy. That was silly. Hey, Faith, how are you doing? Good morning. Okay, just checking again. Pound dollar still pushing up. That's good. Very good on the pound dollar. Hey, Pips Apprentice, how are you doing? Big day today, some news. Well, we had a big day yesterday. I had many trades yesterday. As much as we didn't go through the whole set of daily market analysis that we usually do yesterday, we had a lot of good information yesterday. Hope you enjoyed the session. If you enjoyed the session, put it into the chat, let me know. And also, a lot of the setups that we were looking at on Monday took a long time, got into play on Tuesday, so it's all still valid and worked out very nicely. Hope many of you got into some of those trades. Okay, so now, what was I going to say? Okay, now, if you're new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. Put something in the chat. If all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Two things you can do for me today is, well, today and every day, is that you can put into the chat any questions you have, any particular currency pairs you'd like me to look at. Yes, I will do the CHF JPY, Diana, so that's becoming one of the regulars, the currency pair that is. And if you can help me out massively, do remember to click the like and subscribe button on whatever platform you are streaming on. Okay. Hey, Angel Case, good morning. How are you doing? So now a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, and your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. All right, short and sharp, let's get to it. Refresh that, and we can see that just at the start of this session, UK CPI data was released, was 3.9, expected 3.8, came out at a 4%. So, worked out. We spoke about this yesterday, expecting, because this is from December's data as well, so expecting the increase in sales numbers, the increase in employment numbers, which leads to the increase in demand, was likely to have caused this or forecasted this increase in the CPI data for the UK. It's very similar to what we saw for the for the US CPI that was released last week, right? So we anticipated that. Right now we're seeing the pound dollar push to the upside from this support level. So that's fine, pretty much as we expected. I don't think we're going to see a big reversal. We'll look into that shortly. It looks like it might bounce back up before continuing back down again. Again, I think I forgot to do this. If you haven't already, do make sure you join us on Discord. I was updating quite a bit earlier today about the trades that I got out of from last night. Okay, so that's where you can also take our discussions beyond this session. Daily Gaming said, I enjoyed it. It was the door to know you. Second stream for me today. Welcome, welcome. Good. Hope it's a second and many more to come. Daily Gaming, good to have you. Faith enjoyed the sessions too much. We're planning for another one already, so that's going to come. Hey Anthony, good morning. How are you doing? Okay, so now with that, we'll look into that shortly. No big surprise there. Since the last time we spoke, yesterday we did have employment numbers. We spoke about that for the UK. The CPI number for the Canadians came out again like we expected, slightly to the upside. Median CPI was 3.4, got revised up to 3.6. So it stayed at 3.6%, while median trimmed CPI 3.5, 3.4, up to 3.7, or seeing a bit of a bounce up for that same reason that I was telling you about: increased festive period employment, increased consumer consumption or retail sales and activity numbers in December during the festive period led to or accumulates up to the increase in demand, and that's why we see increase in demand. That's why we saw the CPI number or inflation growth number climb slightly on the Canadian dollar, or on the Canadian, on the UK, and on the US. What you see on the Canadian, on the loonie, yesterday we were talking about this. It was going to sit there, and then I thought, with the number that anticipating that stronger number on the CPI data, we were going to see the uscad push down towards this 1.3440 level, right? So it came down on release of the news, came as low as 1.3445, and then we said it was going to bounce back up. It did bounce back up, and now pushing likely towards, hopefully likely towards that 1.3550 level. Okay, so that's also worked out quite nicely, although that wouldn't have, unless you caught that move at the bottom, I don't think this was a nice tradable setup. I would just like to see it come towards that resistance and then figure out from there maybe a continuation back up or a push back down. We'll look into that shortly. So that was what happened since we spoke yesterday. At 11 p.m, Governor Bailey from the Bank of England testified at the UK economy before the Lord's Economic Affairs Committee. I did not follow this news. I don't see any headlines on it either, but we did see the pound dollar move pretty much as planned, push to the downside, right? Push to the downside. I saw it bouncing around this level. It went back up, but bounced around this level. I am looking for a continuation to the downside on the pound dollar. Okay. So overview done from what happened, what just happened. What's coming up is tonight. Not a lot. Well, Euro CPI number, I think it's going to stay the same all the way through to the US retail sales number. Again, remember, this is retail sales number for December. What happens in December? We have Christmas. What happens in Christmas? People go out, spend more money, buy gifts. So retail sales number is likely to be better than expected, right? Better than previous. I'm thinking even better than expected. So I'm thinking maybe a 0.5 possible, a 0.6 as well. So I'm looking at a bit of a better number on the retail sales data here. While core retail sales, remember again, core retail sales is excluding automobiles, so no cars, looking to stay at the same level. I think maybe a bit of an upside move as well. Maybe a 0.3, right? Maybe a 0.3 could be reasonable. Yeah, 0.3, a small upward move on the core retail sales month to month. So all adds up, I think that 9:30 tonight, GMT plus 8, we might see a little bit of a stronger dollar index come back into play. Well, continuation of a dollar strength pushing to the upside. Okay. President Lagarde speaking at the town hall titled How to Trust Economics. Don't think World Economic WEF in Davos. I don't think that's going to move prices too much through to tomorrow. Employment numbers for Australia. Employment change 61.5, 15.4. Unemployment rate likely to stay the same, while employment change I'm actually thinking that this might be a little bit better than expected. I think this, again, because it's a December number, I think this might be a little bit better than expected. So might see a little bit of strength or a slowdown in the drop on the Aussie. So keep that in mind as we look into the charts. Daily Gaming has a question. Better retail means better for USD, right? Yep. Most likely, not 100%, right? Most likely because retail sales is spending, spending is business activity is GDP numbers, right? And spending also leads to business activity, which leads to employment numbers. And then spending also leads to, increased spending also leads to higher demand, which leads to a could lead to a stronger dollar. So that's what we'll be looking out for. Okay. Daily Gaming, keep the questions coming. No worries. Everyone's a beginner. I've been in the market for 10 plus, almost 20 years now, but I'll still say that I'm a beginner because every day we are learning something. Hey Jamil, how are you doing? Okay, so now on to the dollar index. Yesterday we said that break above 103 to get to 103.50. It got there. It got right there to 103.50. Now sitting at that level. All right, so we did see that breakout pushed up right now at 103.50. That 61.8 is broken. That point is the mid level. So I'm happy with all that. I'm trying to build the habit of clearing out my lines a bit more now. So we take all of that away. 61.8 is broken. Once it's broken, there's no point, no reason to keep it there. So I'll take that away. All right, while I have that as my support level. In fact, I'll keep that as my support level there. So that's a resistance turned support. Have this one here at my major resistance. I don't need it all the way back there. Take that away. I know that I want to have my resistance right there. Okay, so now you can see that it's relatively clear. Break price right now at 103.50. Could see it push up towards 104.26 with a bit of hesitation possibly at that 104 level. Okay. I will put this in as a resistance for now as well. Okay, so that's what we have here on the dollar index. Right, and another one that I want to point out is we've been talking about this on the daily time frame. Just let me do this first. We can see that it's been pushing to the downside. We're catching 104, that point there, like that. Yep, that's why I'm looking for it to break, to get up to that 104 level, then we might see it push back down again. Okay, so now back to the H1 time frame. Now the dollar index is sitting. There we go. That looks good. Okay, now we see the dollar index sitting at this 103.50 level. Remember, again, anticipating, not that one, anticipating a bit of strength for the dollar index on the retail sales number. I'm thinking that we could see this maybe retrace a little bit as it hits a key level before pushing back up again. So now checking this, I don't think it'll come down that much. All right, we have this point here. What if I took this one? It's about the same level, so about there. So we have that as a bit of an interim level. Okay, there we go. It's all set up. We have our lines, we have our constraints. Let's take it from there. So dollar index on the 17th today, I'm thinking that it could retrace. Look at it, it's retracing now. So dollar index could retrace down to 103.25. 103.30 actually. I would say 103.30. All right. Before pushing higher again, could to 104. There we go. But what I'm looking for it to do is also to stay above 103.25. Need to stay above 103.25 to remain bullish. Okay. Okay, so what I mean by that is dollar index could consolidate along this point. Consolidate or retrace down to. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking is that it could sit here and then push back up, but I think that it more likely could retrace a little bit down to this point before pushing back up towards that 104 level. If it breaks below 103.25, which is just there, then we could see the dollar index, trade lower towards that 102. Actually, I would like that one a bit more. 102.70, 102.80 level. There we go. Right, so what I'm anticipating is for it to come down, test about 103.20, and then push 103.30. 103.30 before pushing back up again. if it breaks below this point, then it could come down to 102.80, right? But yes, Jamil says strong buy dollar index. Yeah, I think it's more likely to push the upside. It's only if it breaks that level we might see a deeper retrace. But for now, that's what I'm looking for. Either consolidate here and then push up, or retrace before pushing higher. Now, with that in mind, then looking at the Kiwi dollar, Kiwi, we saw that pushing down. There was a good 40 pips to the downside. As we were expecting that dollar index strength, it continued lower, now at 0.6121. We have the next major support here at 6088, 6090. I like that one. Okay, and beyond that, just bear with me for a moment, just checking a couple of lines. We can take that one away. Don't need that. Take that one away. I don't need that or that. So that support is now turned as a resistance. Our next support is here, with the next support beyond that at about that point there, 0.6. Okay, there we go. So now coming back to the Kiwi dollar, what I'm actually looking for is that it's had a big drop. It's had a big drop on the Kiwi, and it broke out of that level. On the Bollinger Band area, it's still okay. Looking at the fib levels here, I don't think it's going to retrace that much. So what I'm thinking is that what I would be waiting for is that dollar strength to continue pushing to the upside. Kiwi dollar, yes, you could trade down from 6121 to 6090, 30 over pips to the downside. I would say that a better option, maybe something to consider, would be for it to break below 6090, so 6080, 20 pips stop loss, and then we'll go down for that 70 pip take profit to the downside towards 0.60. Okay, so I would be looking for that. Kiwi dollar 0.6080, stop loss 20, take profit 70 to the downside, especially if we see that dollar strength come back into play. That's a key support there. That makes sense. I'm happy with that. I did catch the Aussie on this. This took a long time. This took a long time for it to set up, but we caught the Aussie on that downside. Now, looking at this, take that away. I don't need that either. That one's done. That interim level that we had from Monday is done as well. Now Aussie dollar right at the key support level there. I would say this whole thing, 6524 and 6554 is possibly, I would consider this whole thing as a support. Right? I'll consider this whole thing as a support area. So it will look something like that. That's my support area. I wouldn't do anything here on the Aussie at the moment. Very similar to the Kiwi dollar. What needs to happen is it needs to break that support and come down to this next point. Not a big move, not as big a move here on the Aussie. But if it comes down and breaks that support, then you could be Digital business here, I see head and shoulders on most pairs, possibly. 6515. Tight stop loss, no more than 20 pips. Take profit could go down to 50 pips to the downside. Okay, just checking my levels. And if it breaks that point, we have massive downside here on the Aussie. I think that what's likely to happen here, remember that tomorrow morning we do have the Aussie employment numbers to be released. So I think that might bring about a bit of a bounce on the Aussie dollar. So what I think could happen here is that today it looks like it could do this push down, test this level, bounce, and then we look for that move down. Okay, I see your request there, Shy Zebra, for gold. We will get to that shortly. 6515, 20, 50. I'm happy with that. Can it bounce? I wouldn't be looking to buy it back up. With the way it's been dropping, I wouldn't be looking to buy it back up. Okay, so 6515. So if it bounces, let's say for example, if the Aussie dollar tomorrow, let's say tomorrow the employment numbers comes out nice and strong for the Aussie and it does this, then I wouldn't do anything. I'll still be waiting for it to push back down before looking to sell. Okay, so I wouldn't be looking to buy it back up. Aussie dollar could come to that point, that's fine. Even 30, 50 is probably quite near, yep. Yeah, so even if it bounces back to this area or just below that resistance, I will still maintain a bearish view on the Aussie to the downside. So 6515, 20 to 50 on the Aussie. 0.6515, stop loss 20, take profit 50 to the downside. Okay. Then, look at that, I caught this. I caught this twice. What I mean by I caught this twice was that it sat there, it pushed up, it broke out of that resistance level, now turned support. And then I got into that trade, it came down, hit my stop loss. I hit my stop loss at 25 pips, formed, I'll zoom in a bit more to show you, formed that rejection and pushed back up. So I got into it again and then it rolled up. So it did that and then it rolled up towards my take profit at 76 pips. I think I even took 80 pips on that. 79 or 81, I can't remember. Right? So I don't like a round number thing. So it got up to that point and I got off that trade. Did well on the US yen despite one stop loss. Okay, now that the US yen has done that and it's broken above that resistance, now turned support level, I am anticipating further upside for the US yen, right? Further upside for the US yen, especially anticipating further strength for the dollar index. Let me just clear out a couple of this. We don't need this. When you have too many lines, you get confused. 50, 60 all cleared already, so we can take that one out as well. Those are reasonable. We have the next level here. So I would say that we have an interim level just about here. And then a major level at about there. Okay, Right, so why did I select this point is because the US yen pushed up, tested this level, failed to break at 148.35 and then came back down. So I highlight this as an interim, and then this one lasted a bit longer, so highlight that as a key resistance area at 149.74, almost about 149.80 or 150. So coming to the present, what I would be looking out for here, it's right in the middle, right? It's quite above that support level already, so I wouldn't rush into this trade, right? It's doing well. I do think that it's sitting here right now. We could see it push up towards the 149.80 level, but at this point, if you're going to enter a trade, it's something that you want to watch it closely. You want to manage it a little bit closely. Alternatively, what I would look for would be for it to break above 148.40. Then I would look to get in. So 148.60 even, I could get into that. Stop loss, no more than 40 pips. No more than 40 pips stop. Take profit about 100 pips, 110 pips to the upside towards that resistance because we are anticipating further dollar strength to the upside to drag that up. Okay. So, okay, 148.60, 40 to 110. 148. Where am I? Okay, 148.60, stop loss 40, take profit 110. Okay, there we go. Makes sense so far? Put it into the chat, let me know what you think. If you got, did anyone catch, I deleted it already, but did anyone catch that US yen trade to the upside? Did you get caught out on the stop loss, same like what I did, or you just trade it straight up with a bit of a wider stop? Put it into the chat. US yen, let me know if you caught that. Jamil did 3 trades on the pound dollar of 81 pips per trade. I think you would have stacked it to the downside. So yes, I think you got in a little bit earlier on that as well. So yes, very nice trade there, Jamil. Three trades on the pound dollar of 81. Fantastic per trade. Fantastic trading. I'm pretty sure you closed out on it and didn't hold on to it. Okay, so now take that away. This was what we looked at on a pound dollar. I got that 43 pips to the downside. I do my trades one at a time on one pair per trade at a time maximum. I don't stack my trades, so that was a good 43 to the downside on the pound dollar. Now you can see that push up. I'll show you again. Right, it was outside of the Bollinger on just before the release of the news. Came back in, release of the CPI data for the UK. 4%, push this to the upside. Okay, so this trade here, not ready yet. Right, I was looking for the continuation to the downside, but it's not ready yet. Let's look at it again. Now, pound dollar, that channel, well and truly broken. We can take that away. We have, I don't need this point. I'll keep that, I'll keep that. I want to try and figure out how much could it retrace by. It's at that 23.6 level right now, right? It's bounced back up. It's trading at 23.6. Again, driven up because of this CPI data release. Now, at this point, 336. Looking at it on a 15-minute time frame, what needs to happen here is that we need to see. I'll move this. No, I'll keep that there. In fact, let me do something. Yeah, you should only be looking to sell the pound dollar down. I would be doing the same as well. Right? Looking, so what I mean by that is I'm looking at it bounce. I want to see it break. I want to see it break this point. This 1.2640 level. Right? But I want to see it test and reject this level. Just because if it doesn't break and then it pushes back down, it's going to be a bit wishy-washy in this area. What I want to see it do is test, reject, then we could be looking to sell down. A bit of an earlier entry would be a test and reject. You sell down at 1.2660, stop loss tight, no more than 20 pips. Take profit down to 40 to the downside. Okay, and take profit could go there. Yeah, this support level, we're catching the area there. It could come down to that point as well, right? Just because we have this level here, there, that point there, that point there. So, and then we have that there as well. So I'm happy with that. We could look to test and look at it push. Look at that push. So I want to see it hit that 38 and reject. Could it get to 50? I wouldn't like it as much. Maybe it would get to 50. Let me think. 50 would be about that point there. Could do that. In fact, it might even get to 50. It might get to 50. Why I'm saying that, why I'm thinking that, in fact, I might revise this, is why I now think that it might get to 50 is because, yes, 38.2 is right there. There is a bit of hesitation at this point, but if you look at 50, that's a stronger level at 1.2690, coinciding with that 50% retracement level. So maybe what we could be looking out for on the US pound dollar would be a retracement and a test and reject 1.2690. I would look to sell the pound dollar at about 1.2680 on rejection. 20 pips stop loss, 60, almost 70 pips, 65 pips to the downside towards the support level. Okay? And then beyond that, we have the next support. You can look to sell it down with a bit of a hesitation level about that point there. Okay, there we go. But for now, retrace. I think it'd be worthwhile keeping 38.2 there as well. And that point. Okay, we want to see it break above. So in about 20 minutes time, I want to see it be above that 23.6 level. Push up, test, and reject back down again. 1.2680, 20 to 65. Okay, there we go. Take that away. We're looking to sell. So pound dollar, wait for retracement to complete. We could be looking to sell at 1.2680, correct? Yes, 1.2680. 20 pips to 65. 2680, stop loss 20, take profit 65 to the downside. Thank you there, Jamil. Thank you. I don't need that. Okay. Yes, I am happy with that. Pushing up. Okay, Then onto the euro dollar. We were talking about this yesterday, pushing to the downside. It's on its way. It's taking a long time. Quick revision of the euro, and I think someone on the Discord channel was saying that they sold it as it broke the channel down to as a support. Good move, very good move to the downside. That trade or that setup that I was looking for was, I think if you remember, we talked about this. You could look to sell it down as it broke. This would be the bit more risk adverse as it broke, and then you look for it to break down from that point, right? And I think we had that bearish flag pattern as well, right? There you go. So again, on the euro, bearish flag pattern with a break of the bullish channel and a break of that support level now. So that's why I was indicating that this, no, not that one. Where was it? Okay, that this area, as much as it's going to be a possible trade, this was more like the confirmation area that you'll be looking for. All right, what I'll be looking out for here on the euro dollar is that it's going to retrace, right? Pound dollar is pushing back up a little bit right now, but we're looking for a continuation back down. Dollar index looks like it's going to retrace back down a bit before pushing back up. There are no major news for the euro today and into tomorrow. Yep, no major news. So what I think could happen here is a retrace to test that support turned resistance level. You spot it there. So I want to see it test and reject, very similar to the pound dollar, to sell it back down again. With the next support level down here, I would say that we even have a bit of an interim level at about that point there. No, I want to catch that point there. All right, and you can also see that we have that gap there as well. So it's going to come back down about that point and push, or it came back down and it's going to push back up. So what I'm looking out for here is a test, reject, back down. I like that. Sell 1.0880. Yep. So a test and reject 1.0880, 20 pips to 60 pips to the downside. Okay, 1.0880, that's fine. Again, what I would highlight here, I say this all the time, right, is that we are quite heavily, I've done that already, we're quite heavily biased towards dollar strength, right? Quite heavily biased towards dollar strength. So just be careful on that. But what I would also say is that with the trend, look at the Kiwi dollar. It's trending, recent trend is to the downside. If it bounces, then might not, I'm not looking to buy it back up. Aussie dollar as well, pushing lower. I wouldn't be looking to buy it back up. I'm following the trend. US yen is could be coming very close soon. Something I'll be very keen on. Even if it traces down, I'll be looking for buying opportunities. Pound dollar pushing up. I think it's going to be closing above that point. That's fair. Euro dollar again recently pushed down. Even if it comes up, I'm not looking to buy it back up. So it could be, what we are looking at right now is that it could be a situation where dollar strength comes back in or continues, and we've got multiple trade setups that you'll be looking at. right? You'll be deciding between, okay, I'll get into this now. And I think I comment that a bit onto Discord for you guys as well, is I'll get into this now, then if it breaks, or no, I'll get into this now, I might close it, I'll get into something else after that once it's hit a certain profit level. All right, or in the alternate scenario is that if the dollar just retraces back down again, then it'll be a situation where I wouldn't enter any trades. I'll just be waiting for the trend to resume before I would get into any trades. Okay, so that's what I would do. So it's either I'll be busy hammering out trades and sequencing my trades, or I wouldn't be doing anything. I'll just be sitting there waiting for it to complete this retracement before looking to sell it back down again. Daily Gaming said yesterday I hit stop loss with yen, but I got into it again and got to take profit, so it's a good trade. Very similar to what I did. So congrats there, Daily Gaming, good job. Jamil says euro dollar, I'm waiting to come to demand area, then I want to take a buy. Yeah, it might come that area there at about 1.0850 maybe. But I think that if it retraces now, we might see that push down, then maybe a bounce back up. But it all depends on what's going to happen on the dollar index. Okay. Done that. Then the US Swiss franc did not drop as much as we expected before pushing back up, right? So this support resistance turns support level here of 0.8597 or 0.86 as a support level held, and we saw the US Swiss franc push back up again, driven by that strength of the dollar index, from the dollar index. Most likely at this point looking for that continuation towards that resistance of 8650. All right, see, that's a fair area there. And then after that, we've got another point here at 8710. I would be very careful there, right? So typically I would say, yes, look to, you can look to buy it up, but I'm just thinking that about the possibility that it might be overextended. Let me just check something. I think that's still okay. That's broken this, coming to 61.8 right there. All right. Take all of that away. Now 61.8 is right there with that resistance level. So what I would be thinking now is that it could push up. Then you'd be looking to buy it up. 8660. If the dollar strength continues, 50, 20 to 50. There we go. Bollinger is still okay, so we're going to see that continuation back up. That's fine. Needs to break that resistance first. I wouldn't do anything at this point on the Swizzy at this point. I'll look for it to break that resistance. Diana's asking, do you always look at dollar index if you trade US pairs? Yes, you should. What I do, I got a screen about that big, is that I have all my charts open. So this is the analysis, this is the live stream. So I keep it a little bit simpler, a little bit cleaner, to convey the message and for ease of viewing. But what I would do when I trade is my MT4 and MT5, I'll have all the charts open. And then when I have all the charts open, I kind of get a feel or a visual guide on how everything is moving against the dollar index. So I don't check the dollar index in particular, but I get an overall view of what's happening against the dollar, right? But yes, you can or you should check the dollar index as a guide. It's not a, it's not a direct indicator. I don't like to use the word indicator. It's not a direct indicator of the dollar strength and where prices could head towards on, for example, the US Swiss franc, but it's a good guide, dollar strengthening. So if you see, for example, here, now dollar weakening, right, briefly, but yet it's sitting there, right? So I'm thinking that, okay, dollar is getting weaker slightly. This could push back down a little bit, not reflecting yet, but it could push back down a little bit before pushing back up. All right, so it's not dollar is weakening now, I'm going to sell the US Swiss franc. I'll still be looking at as a bit of a guide. Okay. I look US Swiss franc strong buy. That's a great point. Thank you. I was in EU. Digital Business says I was in EU already. I'm thinking whether to close or just stop loss. Was the best saves on Digital Business. Are you selling on the EU? If you're selling, I would never adjust stop loss. If you're in it, you're making money, close it out. I think that there's a retrace coming. All right, it's going to retrace a little bit, so might want to close it out. Yeah, don't adjust your stop loss, I would say. Could I share my MT4, MT5 setup? Yeah, I could. Can possibly, not now, but I'll do that in a different setting for you guys. We can do that because it looks really messy. All right, but I'm used to it already. US Swiss franc, I look a little divergence. Let's see. Testing. I'm terrible with divergence. There is that push. So are you talking about that? The disclaimer is that I'm terrible on divergence. Is that the divergence that you're talking about there, Jamil? Let me know. And what kind of divergence is that? Let me know. Okay. Alrighty. So is that a bullish divergence? I don't trade divergences. I need to do a quick reference on that. But what's a divergence on that? Let me see. Yeah, so that's a bit of a bearish regular divergence, it looks like, which means that we could see that push back out, right? So what might happen is that it could sit there, form a bit of a tweezer top as well, push back down before pushing back up. We need to see what happens to the dollar index. I think if it comes down and bounces, then it would be a very similar play on the US Swiss franc. Okay, but good spot there. Thanks for spotting the divergence on the US Swiss franc. I love it when you guys are contributing ideas and perspectives, so keep that coming. Okay, so US yen, as promised to Diana, US yen, looking at it to push higher, right? Looking at it to push higher because of the dollar strength scenario. US Swiss franc, looking for it to push higher. Maybe a divergence, could do a bit of a retracement before pushing higher. So now onto the Swiss yen, right? We thought that could happen, did not. Take that away. It did push up, so it got to 170.84 and then pushed up almost that 765 pip to the upside. Right, Diana, did you get onto that? Swiss yen is now a regular analysis that I do, but it's not a regular pair that I trade yet. Should put that in. I might switch that out in terms of my trading setup. Take out the US Swiss franc and I'll put in the Swiss yen. Maybe. Okay, something to consider. So that setup we were talking about yesterday, working out well. Now towards that very nice Diana, good stuff. Good 60 something pip to the upside. Now approaching this resistance. Remember, big key resistance here on, check it on the H4 time frame, on a daily time frame. This is a major resistance here on the Swiss yen historic high, right? I'm zooming all the way out. You don't see anything higher there. So back to the H1 time frame again. I'll take this away. Don't need that. That's my support level. In fact, I'll take that away and I'll change that to be my support. I'm happy with that one. And I'll take that away. I'll change this to my next support level. And then we have the, okay. So now with that, anticipating US yen pushing higher, US Swiss franc sitting there but also pushing higher. If that pushes higher, weakness on the Swiss franc. But I think that's going to push up faster. The US yen is going to push up faster. So what we could be looking for is a break of that resistance. I don't like, I wonder there's no news about there's a strong push. Yeah, it's really pushing up because of that, this, right, where is it? That push, you can see that three green candle was pushing up, right? And that's why we see that three candles pushing up. And also, during the same time, the US Swiss franc or the franc has not really done too much, right? It hasn't done too much. So imagine now Swiss franc not doing anything, but yen getting weaker. So it's got that big push. It's not conflicting. I'm just going to be very careful when it breaks above that resistance because it's a major high level that it's breaking right now. Okay. And it's going to retrace a little bit. I think that is going to break. I think that is going to break. It's going to retrace a little bit before pushing back up. I know you can use fib extensions and all that, but I like identifying the next round number level as a possible target point. Look at that retracing back down now. Okay, so what you could look for is 171.60, 40 pips to the upper side, tight stop at about 20 pips. Yep. Spiro says, I believe go a little up to make divergence, then go down. Yep. Daily Gaming says, I'm in Swiss yen buy. Should I end it? I would end it because it is at a resistance level. So I would close out the trade, look for the breakout, and then look for that push to the upside. All right. And if it breaks below, no, it might come back in a little bit more before pushing back up. I don't think it'll break below that point. The famous last words, I don't think it will, and then it does that. But I think it'll do that. Or push right up. But no matter what, I'm only looking to buy 171.60, 20 pips to 40 pips to the upside. Okay, Jamil's in pound dollar on a sell today, only one trade. It looks a little bit early. I think that there might be a little bit more push to the upside before rejection. I'll still look for that rejection. Okay, I hope I answered your question there, Diana, about the Swiss yen, looking for that continuation higher. Then onto the US CAD, like we were saying, that's played out quite nicely on the CPI data from last night. Dollar strength is going to lead to that push towards 1.3550. That's my support now. I like that there's a little bit of a level here. And I would even consider this as a bit of a resistance short-term trade. A bit of a short-term trade here on... Nah, that's too short. That's too short-term. That's 25 pips. That's not worth doing. Wait for it to break up higher. Dollar index retracing. Look at that retracement. Needs to stay above that point. Diana, you're slowly, or not slowly, you've already changed my mind on the pair. I'm starting to love that pair as well, so I appreciate that. Dollar index retracing, pushing back, looking for that to sit there. I don't think this is going to retrace that much or at all. I have that 23.6 is right there, my support. It's pushing higher. I want to say that only if it breaks above 1.3550, then I'll go 55 to the upside, stop loss no more than 20 pips, like that. I wouldn't do anything right now. Even if it retraces, that's fine. Okay, only if it breaks that resistance. So 1.3560, 20 to 55. Oh, I didn't do my cat. Okay, let me do that first. Buy 1.3560, stop loss 20, take profit 55. US Swiss franc, what we were looking at is a retrace. I would revise this idea and maybe think about a retracement to test and bounce. So 0.86, 0.8610, 40 pips to 20 pips. We look for that. 8610. We're looking for buy 0.8610, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the upside. Hey, yeah, you know, Diana, the yen is that kind of pair. US yen, and I never, when I first started, I only traded the US yen. Then through a couple of coaching clients that I had, they started talking about the pound yen. Then I started thinking, oh, you know, looking at the pound yen, it looks good. Started trading the pound yen a lot. And then after that, now I'm slowly looking at the Swiss yen a lot more now as well. So it's going to become one of the features as well. I love the yen pairs. So yeah, I agree. There's something about the yen pairs that just captivates. Okay, so we've done all of that. Then on to gold. Gold, we talked about it yesterday. Break 2051 could go down to 2040. It's done a lot more than I expected. Very surprising. It's done a lot more than I expected. Breaking that support all the way down towards the next support level at 2019. and bouncing back up, but you see here that that trend line is holding, right? That big long-term trend line is holding. Gold, what I would be very careful about here now is that if the dollar does retrace and push back up, then we might see this now retrace a little bit and then push back down. You could be, and that's going to be that's a very key level here on gold at this point. All right, that's a very key level here and here. All right, so I don't need a couple of this. I'm just trying to find an interim level. I don't see why it should drop that much. I'm actually thinking that that's a reasonable interim level. All right, so now onto gold, then I would be thinking that if it does break 2019, we could see it down to 2007, 06, 07. Okay, so ideally something like that. So gold, we would say that break 2019 could trade down to 2007. Inverse relationship with the dollar push, if it does push back up, we're going to see that come back down. It's a bit weird now seeing the dollar come down and gold come down slightly. So, you know, I'll say be a bit patient there. I think, no, I'll say 2018. There we go. Okay, there we have it. Hey matey, the best thing I've learned from you over the years is that you wait for the test and push back. Going with the trend always makes money. Not always, but quite often. This tip has helped me well. Thanks a lot. Thanks for everything. Thank you, matey. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's, you know, I look at the areas, look for it to come down, complete that retrace, push back up. I'm glad that tip and, you know, what we're doing here is helping you. So I really appreciate that, matey. And Gojo, how are you doing? Shy Zebra, I hope you got your answer there on the gold analysis. All right. So with all that said, again, the link is there for you guys. Do make sure you join us on Discord if you haven't already. And then also, again, a quick reminder, if you haven't, please help me out. Click that like and subscribe button, whether you're on TradingView, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, wherever you are. Remember to click that like and subscribe button. I would appreciate that massively. So please trade well, trade safe. I will see you all on Discord. If not, I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care now. Bye-bye.